Everyone, this is Charles Kovach with another not so exciting episode of We're All Getting Fucked. This episode of We're All Getting Fucked brought to you by insomnia. Insomnia, that thing that happens to you sometimes that keeps you up all night and then somehow you get that strange burst of energy after being awake for an ungodly number of hours straight. And then you decide to do something and try to be coherent about it, like make a video with presenting a bunch of arguments. Anyways, the first thing to inform you all about is that rich people are still suffering. How disastrous. To compensate for this, or to counteract this, the Fed has decided to inject even more money into the economy. Money that neither you or I will ever see. But originally it was supposed to just be $75 billion a day up until October 10th, and now they're adding some math is hard number beyond that, going all the way into November. Yeah. Once again, your money and my money gets devalued, and the rich get richer. God, I love this country. Yeah, so I just get flabbergasted sometimes at the people who are still deluded enough to think that we are still a first world nation. You know, first world nations actually have free healthcare that actually works. But in this country, all it is if you're rich and in the in crowd, you get what you want and everybody takes care of you and everybody else can go fucking die in the streets. I mean, it's even so bad that the police will protect you if you're rich and not so much if you're poor, as we can tell by all the police activity. And then, you know, further things to even show all this is the whole Jeffrey Epstein nonsense, who people are still covering for some reason. Speaking of police, want to hear a joke? How can you tell a good cop from a bad cop? You can't. They both wear the same uniform. I know, not that good of a joke. But things keep happening that come to national attention from the police. And some of it doesn't even make it to national attention because it gets squashed by the media. You know, I'm just at the point where I don't call them the police anymore. I call them MPs, militarized profiteers, because one of the big problems in the police nowadays is that all the incentives for police to do their work is based off of profit. And the police can basically do whatever the fuck they want, and they're all wearing military gear. Make no mistake, you have no rights. None of us do. Only the rich do. You have no personal property that can't be seized without any reason. You know, you have DWI checkpoints and search and seizure and stop and frisk and all this stuff that's been going on, and so forth and so forth and so forth. But we're supposed to have rights to prevent against this stuff, but the reality is that we don't. Speaking of police, Amber Guyger got sentenced recently. And of course, people turned it into a political issue, a racial issue. And look, not everything is about the police, not everything is about color. And you can say whatever you want about Amber Guyger as a person, but I, for one, can understand what it's like to have worked long hours, consecutive days on a shift, and be dead tired. I mean, fuck, I am so fucking tired right now, I couldn't even find the power button to turn this fucking laptop on. It took me a while. And also there's controversy over the victim's brother hugging her and the judge hugging her and giving her a Bible and all this shit. And it's just like, what the fuck ever. I'm still curious how we're all supposed to come together and universally decide what justice is. You know, it's the age-old question, what is justice? Realistically, it's something completely subjective. It's how a person feels that they've been made whole after they've been trespassed against, or slighted against, or transgressed upon, or whatever. It's completely subjective. And for a country that has the largest prison population in the world, I'm curious about what people actually consider to be justice. Why do many people commit crimes? Well, lack of education tends to be one of them. Lack of actually having resources in the first place, i.e. being poor, that's another one. Some people just make mistakes. And that's okay. We're all human. You make mistakes, I make mistakes. Sometimes I make mistakes, which I did during the reading of the Constitution, which relates to a rant I just previously did. But what do we say about ourselves as a society when we refer to a sentence still as punishment? You know, I would think it would be wiser for people to look at the consequence of a crime being something more to bring the person back into society as a whole, because maybe they were never actually a part of society. Maybe they were ousted from society for one reason or another. And yes, this does not go for everybody. Some people are just going to be fucked up, and they're going to be fucked up the whole time. And yes, we have to handle that differently. But when the majority of people are in jail because they're poorly educated and just poor, I don't see that as a whole lot of justice. That's why I've suggested that instead of simply having a universal basic income, that we could make it a government job for people to be educated. Things tend to turn out a lot differently when people are educated and they understand their place in the world a lot better. You know, you do have that whole thing of the Dunning-Kruger effect, and the Dunning-Kruger effect is in particular a result of a person's education. Look at the president. Dumb as shit. Thinks the world of himself. So, those are the things I wanted to talk about. And I talked pretty fast because I'm still fucking tired, and I still can't fucking sleep. So, I'm gonna go fuck off now, and you guys can do whatever. Enjoy the video. Again, watch it again, because reasons.